Okay, I just click start streaming, and now it looks like I'm live. What's up, everyone? Willie Apple here, and today we will be going over what I think will happen with WWDC23. Not what I want to happen, what I think will happen with WWDC23. Okay, so starting off with iOS, which is, I'm using my phone right now. So with iOS, I think we're going to get a couple of improvements with the lock screen. Maybe new fonts. I'm not exactly sold on that. I would appreciate new fonts for the iPhone, but I'm not sure if it will happen or not. Personally, I believe that it will happen. I just want to make sure something real fast because it was kind of confusing about how YouTube did it. Yeah, speculation. If I go here. Okay, good. Okay, I just want to make sure everything was fine with the live stream and stuff like that. But now we're all good to continue talking. So, all I want is, yeah, I would want more fonts, but I really don't see it happening. While I think it could happen, it's kind of a low chance. Maybe about 30% chance of new fonts for the lock screen. Like, it would be really nice in a list view if they just let every single font happen on the lock screen. Now, something else that could be good. I'm just going to. Sorry, one sec. I'm gonna ping the Discord server. Okay. So, basically, everything that's with iOS 17. Apple Maps will probably get improved quite a bit. So I'm going to move this window down a little bit. So Apple Maps is basically like Apple's focus at this point. They have like dedicated teams for Apple Maps. So I could see it happening really well. Oh, studio light. Yeah, it looks better with the studio light on. Okay. So center stage. No, I'm not going to do center stage. Okay. And portrait just blurs the background. Okay. Really nice. So basically, iOS 17, I think sideloading is going to be restricted to the EU only, and Apple will make sure that it goes to the EU only. But personally, I think that the EU will get really pissed about how Apple does it. So basically, Apple's going to make it so that if you are from the US, move to the EU, or some European Union, or from a different country, it will be really hard for you to get sideloading and stuff like that. And the EU will not be really happy with that, and then will ban iPhones. So, yeah, that will be a good thing for Apple. Apple will probably need to open it up to EU Apple accounts or something like that. Or European models. No, that won't. Yeah, I'm not sure how Apple will do it. Okay, so next thing with iOS 17, it's really hard to predict. More emoji customizations for sure. They do it every year, so would be really surprised if they did not bring more emoji customization. And now taking a look at something else. Accent colors. This has been talked about quite a bit. I personally don't think we will get accent colors on the iPhone or iPad. So basically, if you do not know what accent colors are, I'm going to move this here, monitor. So if we were to go to appearance right here, this is basically what accent colors are. You could change it, and it basically turns everything into that accent color. And I'm going to close Simulator, close Xcode, close Visual Studio, since it says encoding overloaded, since I don't want it to lag on your side, but hopefully it's good now. There won't be any lag since I closed everything. I'm gonna force quit out of that. So it basically turns everything purple. I'm going to open Willy Widgets real fast and go and mute this. You can see everything here turns purple, whereas if I were to turn to multicolor, everything turns red. So there's red right now. That's a default. Let's do it side by side. Okay, we can't do it side by side. Okay, so it turns red. I think this is a darker red. Oh no, it's a different shade of red actually. So purple turns everything purple, all the apps purple, even if they don't do that. I can kind of see them bringing this system to iOS, maybe under general, or no, general colors. Like there'll just be a colors options. But at the same time, I could also see Apple putting it all into accessibility. I'm going to put this back to multicolor because I like multiple colors with macOS. But I could see Apple bringing this as either an accessibility feature or as a new feature called accent colors. And further proof is that they're deprecating accent color inside of iOS 17 is what it seems like is happening, since it says accent color will be deprecated in iOS 17. That kind of indicates, well, the future version of iOS is what it says, but I think it's going to happen in iOS 17. And this makes me think that accent colors are coming with iOS 17, to be honest. And they want to keep the names consistent across code bases and everything. So they're not going to do accent colors anymore with Xcode. It will all be based off of the user's preference that they've set inside of settings. So it's going to be similar to light and dark mode. That probably will happen. I said earlier it won't happen. That I could see will happen. Dynamic island improvement. I'm not sure how I feel about notifications coming in on the top on the island. I think that would look pretty nice, but I'm not 100% sold on that. Stuff about Analyst 941. I actually think that's 100% true. Everything Analyst 941 says is in fact true. So, yeah. Everything about the Apple Maps lock screen. I think that kind of ties in with the home lock screen that we're going to be seeing. We could just tap on an accessory and it just works. I'm going to switch this away from the desktop. I forgot about that. Okay. That should be better. I kind of wish I could split screen OBS and Safari, but I can't. Okay. Okay, let's see. Other apps I could see improvements for. Health app and wallet app for sure. Those are kind of a mess right now, so hopefully we get all those improvements. Hello, Robbie. Let's see. Calculator app on the iPad. I kind of see this happening at this point. Or, knowing Apple, they're not going to do it, to be honest. No calculator app on the iPad. I hope I'm wrong about this. The calculator app is definitely needed. If not, I'm basically going to try recreating my own calculator app for the iPad. Make it exactly how I think the calculator app would feel on the iPad. I'm just going to port the iPhone calculator app to the iPad. That's basically everything I'm going to do. If it does not indeed happen, I think. Not 100% sure if I'm going to do that quite yet. Ow, my finger. Okay. Let's see. What we did see earlier, and not to some settings, I want OBS. So if I were to bring in a Safari tab right here, and then go to apple.com, I saw something pretty interesting. So if I ever go down to Newsroom, scroll down to, where is it? Here it is. I saw something pretty interesting right here. The Calls app. What exactly is this app right here? So the Calls app is just called Calls. It looks like it combines FaceTime and the phone app. So I think this is going to come with iOS 17 right here. And it's just going to be what it sounds like, FaceTime and phone calling mixed together. Personally, what I could see coming is that if you were to call an iPhone user, that call will just go straight to the I want a calculator app too. So basically with FaceTime audio, if you call an iPhone user, it's just gonna FaceTime audio them by default. I wish I could show a phone app. Can I do it inside of the simulator? I don't think that there's a phone app here. Definitely not on the iPad. iPhone 14 Pro. Okay. I just want to show you what I'm talking about. So if I were to bring this iPhone in right here. Oh, it doesn't even have it. But what if I do that? I want to make sure contact information does not appear in this messages app real fast. Okay, no it doesn't. So basically the calls app is simulator is taking a very long time. Okay, there we go. So if you were to just call them like this will go straight to FaceTime audio instead of a phone call. And you would need to like haptic press on it in order for it to come in as a phone call, like a real phone call. And I think Apple's gonna add like messaging, like voice messaging for. Oh my gosh, no, not now. Okay, voice messaging for the calls app, and it's just gonna be all integrated with the FaceTime. But if you're calling an Android user, then it only uses the calls app to call them with a real phone call. Yeah. Hello, Network Mystery. Welcome back. You're good. You don't need to apologize for joining in late. I'm just going over right now what I think is coming in iOS and iPadOS 17. I'm going to combine them. So basically right now we're talking about FaceTime audio being default. So personally myself, I hear the quality difference with FaceTime audio is better. Okay. Wait, did they remove Freeform from the... Oh no, they didn't. Okay. I was just confused here since Freeform was here, I thought. Okay. Back to the stream. So, Safari changes. I don't know why my notifications are coming in for YouTube. Okay. So, Safari changes. I think this will get tweaked a little bit. Sideloading for the EU. It's a weird concept. Yeah, so sideloading with EU, I really don't think it's going to work out well. So basically how I think Apple's going to implement it is it's going to get the iPhone banned in Europe. And that's not going to be a good thing for Apple. Unless they change it really fast to make it how it is on Android, where it just like shows a pop-up and scares the user, which is why Epic Games is scared of sideloading for some reason on Android, and they just can't just do it. But personally, I think the App Store is better, except on the Mac. But personally, I want the App Store to improve, since distributing apps on the App Store is a lot easier than distributing apps on your own. So that's why I want the App Store to improve. We discussed this last stream about the Mac App Store is kind of a mess right now. But the iPhone App Store is really good. So that's why I prefer the App Store over sideloading. I don't use third-party payments for 30% cuts, so don't care about that. Android does the same thing, so Epic is mad at both. They call Apple monopoly even though they aren't. The US has confirmed it. Also, I'm not a huge fan of this layout that they put here. I hope this is a prototype. I want to be able to put a background behind this. And yeah. Personally, I see this right here being only for these apps right here. I really don't see them putting them on Any other app, you're just going to have the camera app, the calls app, and the music app. The calls app's really interesting in my opinion. So basically what I think is going to happen is they're just going to go for it. Like I can kind of see it right here. They're just going to put the FaceTime logo in on the iPad and Mac, but on the iPhone it's just going to be a phone logo since that kind of makes sense there. Personally, I would rather them have the phone app on everything instead of just having it being FaceTime. But yeah, this is one of the most interesting features, and I might go through the effort to set this up to make. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that we could have text-to-speech on the iPhone with your own voice. Really interesting. I know. I bet a lot of people are going to go through this to set it up for themselves, even though they probably won't have whatever ALS. That's what they are aiming this for, ALS. So yeah, personally, I see them targeting these features for other people, but a lot of people are going to take advantage of it, especially girls. Okay, so iOS 17, definitely a ton of bug fixes. Like, yeah, okay. Settings app, I think is going to be the same. I don't see them changing it on anything. Anything else? Calendar app icon. I really don't see that changing again. Someone at the last stream pointed out the calendar app icon is different on iOS versus macOS, and I took a look. It looks a lot better on the Mac. Like, damn, yeah. Let's see. Find My definitely is due for a bunch of improvements, maybe an overhaul. So yeah, Find My. Hopefully they do something with that. It's like I remember in the Mobile Me days, they had a feature where you could just send a message, I believe, to one of your older phones and remotely erase it. So if they could bring those back from Mobile Me, even though Mobile Me was terrible, yeah, the calendar app on iOS looks too similar to Reminders. I'm gonna load in another simulator real fast, and we'll compare it right now. I'm gonna pull in an iPhone 14 Plus. It's turning on right now. Let me switch this to the monitor. It did not do a crossfade. That's weird. Okay. It's booting up right now. Calendar right here. This is booting up. Okay, I'm gonna make it so at least the macOS calendar app has a red thingy. Oh, you're talking about the icon, not the actual app itself. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like, if they just have the red thing on top, it would make things a lot better. Like, on the Mac, there it is right there, June 2nd. Like, why can't they just have that? Oh, I also just saw just now that this is Friday and this is June. Like, okay. Like, maybe they can make this say Friday and then just port the icon to iOS. So, yeah, I'll just save these for later, just in case. Okay, what else? Let's see. tvOS. Let's talk about tvOS, even though nobody probably cares about it. Safari, more and more TVs are adding web browsers, so it would be interesting to see Apple's implementation of a web browser on the Apple TV, although I don't think we will see anything about tvOS this year, at least in the keynote. They probably will say something about it in State of the Union and talk about web apps on the TV and stuff like that, but they gotta bring Safari to the Apple TV or else competitors have a huge advantage over Apple. So, yeah, personally, I like the tvOS interface and that the Apple TV is not laggy like other TVs in my house. Even like I prefer to just use Apple TV since it's not laggy at all. While other TVs don't feel fluid, they're laggy. Yeah, that's what Apple's advantage is. And if they just add Safari, they'll have a better advantage and make me want to buy a new remote, since I don't know where my remote went for my Apple TV. My sibling lost it. So, Messages app on the Apple TV would be interesting to see how that works, but I don't see it happening. Let's see, what else? On the Mac, this one will be interesting and easier to show. Actually, should we talk about iPadOS first? Let's talk about iPadOS. So, let's bring this in. Okay. I don't know why universal control's not where. Oh, there it is. Okay. So iPadOS. So translate. Oh no, never mind. That's about the macOS. Okay. So we have the weather app right here. Are we gonna get a calculator app? Probably not, to be honest. Like, I would be surprised if Apple does bring the calculator app to the iPad, but I hope they do, to be honest. Like, do it in some sort of Apple way. It will be nice if they bring the calculator app to the iPad. Like, actually, the iPads are used in the weight room at my school, and the first thing I see when I switch apps is Safari open, and somebody just Googled calculator. Yeah, that's basically all that iPad used for, as a calculator in Safari, and logging weights on the iPad, since people need to like do math, and not everyone has an Apple Watch on them, so they just open up Safari and just search up calculator, since they can't find the calculator app on the iPad. So yeah. Also, if Apple wants to make the iPad more of a computer, they gotta bring the calculator app to the iPad, since the Mac, even though I don't like the design of the Mac calculator app, it's definitely needed. So, Xcode, I could kind of see Apple bringing. Why is it inverse? That's weird. So I could see Apple bringing Xcode to the iPad, since we have Logic Pro right here and Final Cut Pro that we got earlier. Yeah, by the way, I don't actually edit on my iPad. I wish this was usable, but it's not. It's not touch friendly. But if it was, I would definitely use it. Okay. See, I can kind of see them bringing Xcode to the iPad. It's probably gonna strip a bunch of features of Xcode. For example, Playgrounds probably won't be there. The workaround for that will just be to download Swift Playgrounds and use that instead. Also, why hasn't one of my apps updated on my iPad? I can tell because the icon. Okay. Test flight. There it is. Okay. I don't know why it's inversed right now. iPadOS is just super weird. Okay. So. Okay, next thing I want is. Not that I want. What I think is coming with the iPad is some sort of continuity feature with the Mac. We have Sidecar, we have Universal Control. Apple could do something like combine those, maybe Universal Control improvements, like bringing Mac Windows to the iPad. So that would make for a really cool feature. Yeah, new lock screen for the iPad for sure. Before I show the iPad lock screen, I want to make sure no notifications come up. Nothing important is there, so I'll show it. So, should I get Fitness Plus? Just let me know in the chat. So, basically, lock screen on the iPad. All they did was change the font. I don't really appreciate Apple doing that. I'm gonna fix my Universal Control real fast. So we've been seeing all these concepts, and we even had a working build of lock screens on iPadOS Beta 1, iPadOS 16 Beta 1. I want to go in Displays, and then Arrange, and yeah, Fitness app on the iPad. We don't have the Fitness app? Yeah, we have the Fitness app on the iPad, so yeah, maybe you just gotta download it, and it's not there automatically, so. Unless you're talking about like the okay. So unless you're talking about like the Apple Watch Fitness app where you have your activity rings, I'm not into fitness on the iPad, but I hope they bring that to the Mac actually. So yeah. So good. So basically, the only thing that we got here was okay. Like we could get widgets right here. Oh yeah, the activity rings and stuff like that. Yeah, hopefully that can happen on the iPad. Like we can just look at our activity metrics on the Mac. Yeah, or the iPad. So they're apparently gonna bring the health app to the iPad. I kind of believe this, to be honest. I could see them bringing health stuff since we have HealthKit APIs on the iPad and the Mac. So I could see them bringing it to the Mac as well. So we actually have a working widgets for lock screen in Xcode, but they're like right here instead of being right here. So that's a little bit interesting. That might just be the way it probably just bugged out. I believe that back in the days it just, oh my gosh. Why is iPadOS so weird today? Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure there's not even an option to inverse it. Like, why is iPadOS so weird? Fix that in iPadOS 17. But I'm just going to restart my iPad. And, okay. So while this is rebooting, so health app on the iPad. If they bring the health app to the iPad, I could see them bringing activity rings, looking at metrics. Like personally, I would rather have everything all in one place. So having the fitness app on the Mac and they just bring it over with Catalyst would be a good thing to do. Also, I found out the clock app on the Mac was not Catalyst. I thought it was, but it's not. So I'm going to enter my password here real fast, then I'll show it again. And hopefully that fixed all the iPadOS stuff. Unless it's a beta issue, since hope it's not. iPad display. Okay, there it is. I'm just waiting for universal control to work again. It's taking a while for universal control to work, but okay. And next on the iPad, yeah. It's basically all I could see the iPad getting. Xcode for developers. They might announce that in State of the Union instead, and then just put Xcode beta on here. And then they'll release it in the App Store later this year. But Swift Playgrounds will probably be a replacement for a lot of the stuff, so you'll need 2 apps instead of 1. So I could kind of see that happening, to be honest. They do bring Xcode to the iPad, which I hope they do, but at the same time, I could also see it being M1 and M2 iPads only once again, which is something I would not appreciate, but it will probably be like that. Will it work now? Yes, it does. Okay. Yeah, so GarageBand, iMovie, and Playgrounds are basically the kid versions, is what I'm going to say, but the Logic Pro, Final Cut Pro, and Xcode are the adult replacements. So hopefully they bring those adult replacements to the M1s and M2 iPads. I hope they bring it to the A15 and A12, but I doubt it, to be honest. I have an iPad mini myself, so I probably won't wish for that to happen, but hopefully they do bring it to some sort of iPad. Also, iPad Catalyst. If Xcode comes to the iPad, personally, you're already paying for a subscription if you're distributing apps to the App Store, like a $99 a year subscription. So I personally don't see them putting, say the Union is basic, here, I'm going to answer this question first. So you're already paying a subscription to distribute apps to the App Store. It might just be a benefit for having like if they were to change it up a bit, I don't see Xcode being a subscription since it's free on the Mac. But in order to distribute apps to the App Store, you need to have a subscription. So personally, I see it either being a standalone app for free, or in order to get it, you must be in the developer program. And State of the Union is basically Apple telling us more about APIs and technology. I don't know a single thing about Xcode, but who knows? Yeah, so Xcode's basically just an app making platform, and yeah, you just need a Apple subscription in order to distribute apps to the App Store, and even then, it's not the best way to do it, but for you can also distribute apps straight from your Mac to other Macs as well. So sideloading on the Mac, they might bring this over, like with sideloading on the iPad being a thing finally. They might bring it to the iPad at this point. So maybe they can bring it over with iPad Catalyst, which is something that they're going to maybe announce. So personally, if they bring iPad Catalyst, this can open the room for a lot of apps. So basically how iPad Catalyst will work is developers will be able to easily port their existing Mac apps to the iPad, similar to iPad apps on the Mac, which messages on the iPad, messages on the Mac is a Catalyst app. And so is the weather app. I thought the clock app was a Catalyst app, but it isn't. It uses Mac specific APIs. So yeah, so Catalyst is basically porting iPad apps straight to the Mac. They call it Mac Catalyst. I could see the reverse happening this year with AppKit, where they just bring AppKit to the iPad altogether. That probably will be the easiest option, to be honest. Let's see. iPadOS. So let's see what else could happen here. That's uncomfortable. Files app getting more improvements. So personally, with the Files app right here, I can kind of see them just bringing over more stuff from Finder, but they're not going to call it Finder ever. If anything, I could see Apple calling the Finder the Files app, which will be really boring, but that's the truth. Let's see. If I were to look on my Mac, what would they do with the Finder? They already have tagging. Maybe ejections, like proper ejection, even though that's not really needed anymore with modern flash drives. Do they have viewing options on the iPad? I'm not sure. Let me hide that real fast and go into a new folder. Okay. So I'm just going to add a folder real fast. So they have they do have viewing options. Okay. Okay, we're going to investigate this more here. So let me look at the viewing options on the Mac. So show columns. So this is basically limited, like how iPadOS is compared to macOS. So yeah, that's basically how that is. So I really don't see them bringing Mac icons to the iPhone and iPad currently. So I couldn't find anything with iOS and iPadOS in the accessibility stuff, but let's move on. They should make a feature on... Oh, I did not mean to drag that. I meant to drag the window. Okay. They should make it a feature on iPadOS where you can change the color of the folder and icon. Yeah, they should add that to the iPad. So this folder icon should like get info. Here it is. You should be able to drag an image right here, just like you can do on the Mac. Yeah. Also, something I really don't appreciate Apple doing is synchronizing recently deleted and the trash on the Mac. It basically uploads the trash and puts it in the recently deleted on iOS and iPadOS, which is kind of a strange way of handling stuff. It doesn't need to be iCloud files, but it's a weird thing. Now let's move on to the Mac. What did I want? Okay, monitor. Okay. So basically, Windows File Explorer is shaping to be a little bit better than the Finder. Obviously, Finder is much more customizable currently. But something that Windows does better is having a tab bar built in by default. So I'm not sure if Apple will turn it on by default, or maybe just add a plus button up here by default for tabs. I'm actually not sure if customized toolbar. Yeah, there isn't a plus button here, so maybe they'll add a plus button here and put it up here by default, maybe next to search. And if you have the default toolbar, they'll just add it. Heard of Commander 1, they need to bring some features of that to Finder. I've never heard of Commander 1. Let's take a look at it. So, Commander 1. Oh, it's on the Mac App Store. So, no, you don't need to see my email. Okay. Commander 1, file management on the Mac. So, okay. Ooh. Okay. Zip support. That's, so like being able to view zip files. Yeah, that would be a convenient thing, but yeah. Unlimited tabs. There aren't unlimited tabs here. I would assume there are unlimited tabs, yeah. Thought there were just unlimited tabs here, but I guess not. So, okay. Okay. Yeah, so one of the things that I want is a plus button here, but if they want to compete with Windows, I'll probably just have the plus button here, and that will make tabs, just like it does in Safari. Let's see, fast file inspection, advanced search, okay, pro stuff. Yeah, so personally, I don't think everyone would need all of these features, but something that Apple would probably do, what I could see Apple doing is zip support, but I'm not sure about this unlimited tabs thing, so I thought Finder had unlimited tabs, but I guess not. So yeah, this looks really cool. I might need to check this out one day. So, what are the in-app purchases? I'm curious to see. Pro Pack. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Alright, welcome back. There's a free version if I want to download it. Yeah, I'm aware that there's a free version. I'm just curious to know what the in-app purchases are. But, yeah, people need to make money somehow. Okay. Yeah, so I'll have to check this out one day. For some reason, I can't download apps while, like, I have to disconnect Wi-Fi, then reconnect. It's a weird process for me. But, okay, something else. So Finder probably will get a plus button. I can kind of see that. Instead of it being here, it will be here, and or next to search. Actually, search just expands like that. So, yeah, so they'll just add a plus button right here maybe to make it easier to add tabs for average users, since it's basically just right there for average users. And I don't think everyone would just want to have the tab bar just to add tabs. Like, yeah. Yeah, we're on macOS currently, so. Now, Health app on the Mac, I highly see them bringing them to the Mac. Same with the Translate app. Those two apps will probably be the two new apps on the Mac. Translate app being Catalyst. Actually, both of them being Catalyst. And let's see, what else are they going to do? I can kind of see them redesigning something. Yeah, thank you. Like, I thought I was the only one think that the Translate app on the Mac would be the best thing. But personally, I see them actually bringing it this year. Hopefully it happens. So, yeah, so Translate app on the Mac would be nice. And I could see them bringing it. Like, basically, the only time I want to use a Translate site, I use Google Translate on my Mac. I don't want to use Google Translate, but I kind of have to, or just use universal control, which I don't want to do most of the time. Like, I'd rather just my iPad not be used. I'd rather my Mac would be used for everything. But yeah, I submitted a request for Translate and feedback. Yeah, hopefully Translate happens, because it would be pretty easy to bring it over with Catalyst. Like, it doesn't look like you use complicated stuff. Like, it's just a basic app. Like, just bring it over to the Mac. It's easy, to be honest. Okay, anything else with the Mac? Yes, for sure. Some people want mini bar management. For example, hidden bar built in, which is what this is, hidden bar. Let's see. Dock, I don't see. Control center. Yeah, I forgot to mention this in iOS. I said everything Analyst 941, so clips for Mac I don't see happening ever, to be honest, since it uses both of the cameras, to be honest. Yeah, so Control Center probably will get a redesign. Knowing Apple, I don't think Apple would update the Control Center on iOS but not on macOS. They have done it in a couple of places on the Mac, where stuff does the old way instead of the new way. But yeah, clips on, like, Photo Booth is enough, to be honest. Like, I see a bunch of people just using Photo Booth in school. Yeah, widgets on the Mac. While we have these kinds of widgets right here, I would like to see them go on the desktop. So, yeah, if they just went to the desktop, that would make things a lot better. Home screen on the Mac. That would be a little bit interesting for them to do. Maybe app library instead of launchpad. Actually, with the widgets, we've been seeing... That's a weird bug. It's not animating. Okay, so we seen a patent last year about widgets on the Mac, where you could just probably go into the widget editor. Why does it look like this? It's weird. And then just drag one of your widgets to the desktop, or maybe from here you can just drag it to the desktop. That would be a really cool feature. Oh yeah, something else I want to mention is the Mac organization with, like, large is better. Like, this is a lot better on the Mac. Like, yeah, like, maybe just have, like, a dedicated sidebar maybe here, or just like this. Like, maybe it could just be one side of widgets, like how it is with the notification center. Like, if I were to just remove all the notifications real fast. I'm just going to do this real fast. So maybe they would just do this and then add an edit widgets button. So add widgets to a sidebar. Yeah, it was possible before Catalina. Yeah, dashboard. I remember that. Like, they could just bring it back. And then they had the iOS 13 before widgets as well with Catalina. Like, they basically had the sidebar widgets as well, so I could kind of see them just bringing the widgets to the desktop on the Mac like this, in a format like this, and when you open the notification center, the notifications just come up down here. And then maybe there could be a section, desktop widgets, notification center widgets. Or they could just call this Today View, like they do on the iPad and iPad and iPhone, sorry. Today View would just be how it is right now. And then on the bottom would just say desktop widgets. You just click edit, scroll down, and you can just add widgets to the desktop. But the patent kind of says that you can just add widgets anywhere on the desktop. But maybe just pull the widget out from here, put it anywhere on the desktop. That would be a good use for the desktop, since I don't use this desktop. I do on the Mac, but I use Stacks. So, yeah. So, yeah, it was possible in Catalina with before Catalina with Dashboard, but the text for the widgets is so tiny, I wish they made them bigger. The text, like, I'm not sure what you mean about the text, like this text. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by the text, but hopefully that happens. Updates for chess. I really don't see them updating chess anytime. Where's the chess app? It's in games. Okay. So let's see if Apple updated a chess app since we have Bill 466.4.1. I'm gonna see if Apple even updated chess real fast. Okay, macOS Ventura bug fixes changes. Let's see. I want it on the form. Okay, form. There we go. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna look at the release candidate since it hasn't changed since the release candidate. So I used to do this with the threads. So if we were to take a look at the chess, we can see that chess has not updated ever. So we can see 466.4.1, 466.4.1 with the release candidate 1 of macOS Ventura. So yeah, I really don't see chess getting updated, unfortunately. I mean, like, what's there to update? It's chess with Apple gimmicks. Yeah, chess with Apple gimmicks. New design. Yeah, maybe they can do a new design, but I'm not sure about it, to be honest. Like, what would they change about it? More easy chess computer? Well, maybe with a virtual reality headset that's rumored to come out on Monday as well. They'll change the chess app and put that on the iPad, since the chess app's like the only game Apple has made so far. So maybe they can update that, which is why we have not gotten a Ventura update, but it updated like just one time in Ventura, which was in beta 1. So yeah, 466.4.1 is the latest build of chess. Maybe they can update it, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Basically, any messages features. Like, I see messages getting a visual redesign, and they'll bring that to the Mac. So anything that's related to the apps, like Safari, Mail, messages, reminders, photos, basically anything down here. Basically any of their apps that get updated on the iPad or iPhone, they'll update on the messages, like Discord. I really don't see Apple doing that. Maybe for the sake of gaming, they might do that, but I kind of doubt it, to be honest. Yeah, so yeah, I don't see them doing a Discord-like client. Would be interesting for them to see. I would be surprised if they did. It would be cool if they did, but I kind of doubt that they'll do that. Yeah, so widgets on the Mac, desktop, like a sidebar. Like, it's gonna be like Windows Vista was with widgets, except better. Interactive widgets. So Analyst 941 said that Apple was considering it. Then we heard nothing else about it. Apple probably had something with it. If it's not coming this year, it's coming next year. But if it does come this year, okay, yeah. If it does come this year, I'll definitely take advantage of interactive widgets with my app, Willy Widgets. Okay, now talking about watchOS. As I said before, unless I'm going to try this on my iPad. Oh, 1 second. Build Xcode apps easily. I'm not sure. What is this? One of my friends just sent me something. I'm gonna airdrop it to my Mac right now. Okay, so we found something about iOS 17. Like, one of my friends just texted me this right now. So we found a confirmed Geekbench build of iOS 17. So iOS 17 versus iOS 17. Is this 5 or 6? I can't tell if this is Geekbench 5 or Geekbench 6. What is this 1,000% difference? So it looks like single core score. Okay, so it's Geekbench 6. So if I were to pull up the Geekbench 6 score, I'm going to disconnect continuity camera real fast. Don't worry, I'll be back. So I can airdrop it to the Mac. Files. What I want is... Yeah, I'm going to compare the scores of iOS 17 versus... Yeah, okay. 16.6. Okay. Airdropping it to the Mac. And... Alright, I'm going to make sure continuity camera's good. Okay, yep, continuity camera's good. So I got the file. I'm not sure who found this. So on 16.6, we got a 2509, and on the leak, we got a 2369. Pretty interesting on what we just found just now. So 6256 on the multi-core, 5650, airdrop received from everyone back. Yes. Well, actually, what I'd kind of see more likely is them bringing everyone for 10 minutes to the Mac. So, yeah, unfortunately. What happened here? What? I'm not sure what happened there, but okay. So, 2509 on 16.6, 2369 on iOS 17. How do I mount my phone for continuity? I just put it on my monitor. Like, I just let it sit on my monitor like this. I don't actually mount it or anything. It's just sitting on my monitor stand. So yeah, this is pretty interesting on what we just found here. So, yeah. Pretty interesting on what we have right here. Yeah. Yeah, personally, I don't see airdrop for everyone coming back. Maybe they could bring a toggle, but I kind of doubt it, to be honest. Unless Apple gets way too much feedback. They did it for China initially. But, yeah. Really interesting on what we have here. Yeah. Not sure what this 153 is. If this is like a really early build of iOS 16. End of OpenCore. OpenCore. I see Intel being supported. I could see basically only the 2017 MacBook to get dropped, and that's it. So OpenCore still gonna be a thing. It's gonna be hard for Apple to end OpenCore until they end Intel completely. So yeah. Yeah. Pretty interesting on what we found here. So 153 on the single core, probably a very early build of iOS 17. So pretty cool that we found this. So yeah, performance at first is not going to be pretty good, but during the beta cycles it's going to be better. That's what we can see right now. So, okay, 1 second. The 153 is from February. Okay, yeah, so 153, so this right here is from February. Where is it? Is there a date? I guess somebody, when Geekbench 6 came out, decided to just run a Geekbench test, and this one is from May. So, yeah, pretty cool that we have this right here. We have a leaked Geekbench score of iOS 17. So, yeah, and this is pretty cool that we found this right here. So, yeah. I could do another Geekbench test. Like, I want to imagine how bad the February build of iOS 17 was. So, yeah. Like, getting a 153 on the single core, like, that's insane. Like, what was found with, like, someone at Apple just decided to run a Geekbench test? Rip. Feel bad for that employee. They're probably not fired, to be honest. But, yeah, we got a leaked Geekbench score. First Geekbench score. Well, probably, like, one of the release candidates before they release it to developers. So, yeah. I don't know why Roblox is back in the dock. Okay. Enough about that. Let's move back to continuity features that I think Apple could do. So, with the music app, like, I don't think Apple has... I'm going to move this here. Apple has not really ended support for Apple Music for a while. So that means that we can get pretty big changes with the music app. So maybe we'll get Spotify Connect finally. A Spotify Connect-like feature for the Apple Music. Hopefully we get something like that since, yeah, that makes Spotify better in my opinion, but I got Apple Music for free. Apple Watch control the Mac. Well, you kind of already have this with like the remote app on here, but it's not that good. It's not that intuitive. It's not automatic. Like just bringing app like Spotify Connect, calling it like App Store handoff. Okay. So yeah, App Store handoff is probably what they can call it. No, not App Store handoff. Apple Music handoff. So you can play the music from your Apple Watch and then play it straight onto your Mac. That would be cool for them to do. They already have this with the iPhone and HomePod, but yeah. Bring it to the iPad, to the Mac, to the iPhone. Like, Apple's popular with handoff. They gotta do it at this point, or else. Apple Music Classical for the Mac. That would be an interesting one for them to do. So, not really sure how many people installed Apple Music Classical but use it. Personally, I've installed it, but I used it for like 20 minutes, but that's it. So, yeah. Okay, so you use Apple Music Classical. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I think you're the first person who said they use Apple Music Classical. Like, no offense, but yeah. So, Apple Music Classical on the Mac would be interesting. I could see them maybe bringing it as a standalone app, but they haven't brought it to the iPad, so this probably wouldn't be a dub thing. They probably would just bring it to the iPad and the Mac at the same time as a press release. I really don't see that being a dub thing, to be honest. So, okay. GarageBand, iMovie, nothing will change there. That's not really a dub thing. A lot of people have been saying Dynamic Island on the Mac. I don't see this being true. I see this more sticking to the iPhone. And yeah, maybe future iPads at some point. Maybe making the bezels super thin. Yeah, Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro subscriptions on the Mac. Not really a dub thing. Maybe the next major release of Final Cut would do that on the Mac. But I kind of doubt it. So, okay. Let's see. What else would they do? Let's move on to watchOS. So, OBS. Okay. Camera. Okay. So, the home screen maybe will get redesigned. I see that happening. Like 10th anniversary Apple Watch would be pretty cool to have. So, watchOS 10. Like a lot of developers have been pulling their Apple Watch apps from the App Store, so I'm gonna sit in the front right here. So, yeah, not really sure what Apple's gonna do about that. I'm gonna shrink this. Can I shrink it? No, I can't. Okay. So not sure what Apple's going to do about that. Hopefully they do that instead of focusing mainly on fitness, which I really appreciate them focusing on fitness. Screen recording for watchOS. That'd be a little bit interesting. I don't see that happening, to be honest. Maybe it could happen, but I'm not sure. So, maybe a couple app redesigns on the Apple Watch. Widgets on the Apple Watch sound really likely since we got widget kit on the Apple Watch last year. We can get more widget kit integration on the Apple Watch this year, so I see that happening. Yeah. Universal notifications would be a pretty cool thing. But I really don't see Apple maybe doing it this year. It doesn't sound like an Apple thing, but it would be really cool if Apple does do universal notifications, like get a notification on your Mac, you get it on your iPhone, and iPad, and Apple Watch as well. And just in case there's a duplicate notification, it basically checks if it's very similar. And if it is similar, they just show it one time on everything. So, yep. Let's see, what else? Siri. With every single company going with AI, I wouldn't be surprised if Apple does something with generative AI. Maybe making their own thing. A new saving battery mod, only fitness and on the clock. Well, we technically got low power mode last year, and maybe they can bring back energy saver since I don't think that even exists anymore. Let's see if I were to go down a battery. Yeah, I don't see energy saver anywhere, so I'm gonna do focus. Okay, so now did focus mode even sync? Oh yeah, it did. Okay, it just took a little bit. So more on the Apple Watch. It's gonna get a redesign. Maybe we can get a app store for watch faces, like a watch face store for third-party developers to publish their own watch faces to. Or maybe apps can add their own watch faces to the Apple Watch. That'd be a really cool thing to add. Something I definitely would take advantage of for Willy widgets. So, yeah. It looks like some people have started signing off. So, HomePodOS. Basically better Siri, that's it. Pause in the exercise app. You don't need to take a screenshot. We touch the two buttons. Well, don't they already have that? AirPlay to HomePod on the Apple Watch. We don't have that. I thought we did. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. There's a pause button right there. So yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by pausing in the exercise app. Like just swipe over and tap pause. AirPlay to HomePod and music. Okay. Yeah, we could see that. Let's see, what else could Apple do? Maybe something else I could see Apple doing. Focusing more on the workouts primarily, like maybe better UI for it. Like they want to redesign it apparently. Maybe status bar on top of everything. Like that would look really cool. But yeah. Hopefully Apple does a lot of these new things with watchOS 10. And okay, people started coming back, so we're not going to end off. We're going to talk about the Apple virtual reality headset. We're going to save the best for last. So the virtual reality headset basically going to be a flop, to be honest. Like, who's going to buy the $2,000 one? Well, when you're doing an exercise, you have the option to pause the exercise when you touch the two buttons on your Apple Watch. And also takes a screenshot. Yeah, I really don't see Apple doing something about that, to be honest. So, personally, I have screenshots off since back when I had screenshots on, I would just do the gesture to take the screenshot and pause it. It would do both of them. But hopefully Apple could do something about that. But I doubt Apple will do anything about it this year, though. Since not everyone's going to want to take a screenshot on their Apple Watch, so yeah. Let's see. Anything else that Apple would do? Widgets. So basically, widgets is basically going to be a central part. I can kind of see them making developers be able to make their own watch faces. So that'd be a really cool thing for me to take advantage of. So, have you gotten my ID in Apple Wallet? Not yet, but I live in Colorado, so I can get it at any time. So, yeah. But I'm not going to be flying anytime soon, so no, I've not added it yet. So, more apps on the Apple Watch, familiar. Okay, so yeah. How can I get an ID in Apple Wallet? So stupid. Yeah, so so it's basically a state level thing. The state has to approve of it before Apple can approve of it. So yeah. Personally, you can't really use it anywhere else except for TSA, and even last time I flew with TSA, they not even ask for an ID or anything. So yeah. Chess, macOS app, and watchOS? Maybe. Like, I played chess on an older Apple Watch before. Maybe they can do it. But, yeah, okay. Talk about virtual reality now. So, Apple with their VR headset. I basically see them just putting XROS, 10ROS. I'll probably call it that. Like, if they call it Apple XR, I'll call it Apple 10R for a while, since I'm so used to saying iPhone 10R. Like, it's kind of weird that Apple is calling it XROS. Like, I was kind of surprised that Apple would do that. So, yeah. Notes on watchOS. Would be really cool to cheat on tests and stuff like that. So, yeah. I'm probably going to make my own notes app anyway at some point, so yeah. Okay, so XROS is basically going to be virtual reality iPadOS, to be honest, where you'll be able to open apps maybe with a gesture, maybe your hands are the controllers. So I hear Beat Saber's coming to XROS, so doing this to slash the beats, or this, whatever gesture you want, maybe. So, no games on pros, please. Okay. Anything else about XRS? We're probably just gonna... It's hard to imagine what the Apple virtual reality headset is gonna be like. Like, if it's gonna be as revolutionary as the iPhone, that's gonna be really hard to tell. So, yeah. I kind of doubt it's going to be as revolutionary as the iPhone. Like, not having controllers, it's going to be a weird way to do it. So, yeah, they're going to put games on XROS, whether you like it or not. Unfortunately, they're going to put them there. So, yeah, we already have No Man's Sky on the Mac. Is that on the Mac App Store yet? And I'm kind of interested into No Man's Sky. How Apple will release that without apps? They're basically gonna put all the iPad apps on the XROS. So basically, it's gonna cause controversy, just like with macOS and Apple Silicon. So probably there'll be an option to remove your app from the XROS App Store. So, yeah. What if I say iPhone XR again? Hopefully I don't. I just say 10R. So, yeah. Willy widgets on XROS. If it supports widgets, then I'll put it on XROS. But if it does not have any widget support, WidgetKit support, then nope. Not happening. So, Willy strength, maybe like working out in VR. Not sure. Maybe you'll want to look at yourself while doing it. It's kind of hard to tell if I'm going to support XROS or not with my existing apps, but Notes, my Willy Notes app that I'm planning out, maybe I'll do it. So on XROS, anything that So yeah, iPad apps on the XROS is basically going to be like how they're going to start out XROS, and maybe you'll be able to make XROS exclusive apps. I hear that they have some, like someone was spotted doing something for WWDC, like a popular game developer music app on X. I could see that happening on XRS, but yeah, movies definitely happening on XRS. FaceTime, like maybe FaceTime, like it will be like you standing there, and then you see emojis or something like that. Or actually, what I kind of could see, I'm gonna draw it out in freeform. Yeah, I basically just use freeform to make concepts. Yeah, I could see FaceTime happening in XROS. So if I were to OBS, well, here it is. Okay, so if I were to do my iPad display right here, so basically it's just gonna be your memoji. So let me just draw a memoji real fast. There, that's going to be my emoji. This is what the other person will see. It's just going to be you moving around with face gestures. So like this. But then maybe you'll be able to choose like an office table, for example. And people's heads would be there. It will be like intelligently crop their backgrounds out. In iOS 17, new emojis, probably 17.4 to be honest, since Apple in the past has released emojis in the fall, but yeah, emojis. Yeah, but their actual heads will be there. So I'm gonna draw heads in all of them, and then this is where you would sit in VR. And yeah, it's just gonna be like an office room. Like it's not going to have these. Hello? Okay. So it's not going to have these boxes. It's going to be more like their heads just sticking out of the office table. It probably won't be their emojis. It'll probably just be their heads. Unless they're using XRS as well. So yeah, maybe their heads would be there if they're doing it on like a camera with iOS or macOS or iPadOS. XROS will intelligently crop out their backgrounds, and then it will be like they're actually there. And let's just say this person was using XRS, their emoji will be there as well. We'll just track their head movements. And yeah, the clothing for emojis will be there as well. It's kind of a weird concept to think about right now, but we'll probably see FaceTime XR on Monday. So something similar exists on Skype and Zoom. So, but I never tested it. It's not necessarily in 3D, so it shows participants side by side. So yeah, maybe XROS you'll be able to have people like it'll crop their background out, like how if I wanted to I could just crop this background out. Like we've seen in Final Cut for the iPad and now in the Mac, they can crop out the background entirely without a green screen, but it has to be flat. So maybe Apple will figure that out completely. I know Zoom has figured that out, so maybe Apple will figure it out as well. I could see Apple figuring it out. Yeah, together view. So interesting. In Skype, Zoom isn't great to be honest. I agree. Final Cut Pro for XRS, I could see that happening since iPad apps on the Mac. Maybe that's why we got Final Cut Pro on iPadOS so early and why it's so bad currently. So they'll bring it over to XROS. They just want to do it at a early time. Same with Logic Pro. Hopefully Xcode on XRS. Maybe they'll just keep that on iPadOS for now, but hopefully on XRS we could just make apps all in VR. That would be really cool. But personally, it's something I won't be able to buy at the moment, so yeah. Logic Pro with spatial audio. Yeah, how are speakers going to work? Like, are you going to be forced to wear AirPods in VR? Or is, like, the VR headset going to wrap all the way to your ears? Like it's kind of confusing on how that's going to work. So, yeah. 5.1 setup, maybe? Yeah, maybe. It will just blast the sound into your ears, so it'll be very audible from like here, but not audible from here maybe. Yeah. So AirPods Max equals Apple VR, maybe. I'm gonna drink some water real fast. Yeah, there's just a lot of speculation still going on about the Apple VR headset, and we're speculating it too. We're speculating it too. Been talking a lot for the past an hour and 15 minutes. So, yeah. So, yeah, WWDC is probably gonna be really huge. So we have also been seeing a bunch of stuff about the Mac Studio and MacBook Air 15-inch. So it's still gonna be M2. They're not going to start M3 quite yet. Apple will release Pros in 3 days or in WWDC24. What do you mean Pros? So, to create orchestra tracks, you need to create them in space. Oh, Mac Pro. Mac Pro is a little bit harder. There's not really a market for Mac Pro at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if Apple changes their mind about the Mac Pro and then they just discontinue it completely. 1 second, sorry. Yeah, I personally don't see Apple doing the Mac Pro this dub. Maybe next dub, or they'll have a specific event just for it, since it will be their most modular Mac. So, yeah, XROS will probably release a simulator inside of Xcode so developers can test their apps in virtual reality. They'll probably, figure that out somehow, or do what they did with Apple Silicon, where they release developing testing units. So, yeah. Where it's just stripped down, doesn't have all the technology as the actual thing will have, but if you take advantage of the Quick Start program, which probably won't, you'll be able to get a prototype of the virtual reality headset. So, Mac Pro for $1,000. I doubt it, to be honest. If anything, it will be $3,000 or $5,000 again. I love to have a Mac Pro. I like to have physical expansion. Well, the thing is, Apple will probably discontinue software support for the Mac Pro in 2 years anyway, so yeah. Fortunately, it's not best to buy the Intel Mac Pro, especially if you want to use it for upgradability. Yeah, this is shaping up to be a good WWDC, especially if we get a Mac Pro, but I doubt it, to be honest. So we're going to get M2 Max, M2 Ultra Max Studio instead. So that will be pretty easy to do. They just combine two M2 Maxes. iOS, yeah, okay. So M2 Maxes, pretty easy. Just take out the chip, put the new chip in. That's really easy to do. Who said it'll be one of the longest WWDCs? Well, here's the thing. So, if we take a look at the Apple Calendar app, and if you added it with the calendar, there it is right there. So, it says they put in that it's going to start at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. But at the same time, State of the Union is like 30, actually no, is an hour later, so they're not going to bring big updates for old devices. They would have done it with iOS 12. No, they're not going to do it. So, the only exception to features coming to older iOS versions is, like, coronavirus, like when that was a thing. They basically brought exposure tracking to iOS 12, so that's basically the only time they're going to do it. So, fortunately not. So yeah, maybe it could exceed 2 hours, but if it does, it'll probably go for an extra 30 minutes or something like that. I hope that it's just like they don't cut time on everything. Like, it'd be really exciting if it's just like usual WWDC and then they just announce it. It was over 2 hours. Let's take a look right now. Mac monitor. Yeah, monitor. Okay, so WWDC 2019. How long was it? Yeah, 2 hours and 17 minutes. It probably will be something like that. Apple script is deprecated, I think. So, yeah, maybe it'll be something like 2 hours and 30 minutes. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, I did not show you the calendar thing. Like, if you saved it to your calendar, the dub event, the keynote, says 11 to 1. But, here it was 2 hours and 17 minutes. But everything is pre-recorded, so... Wait, how long was WW22? So... WW22 was an hour and 49 minutes. What about 20? Hour 49. Oh no, that's 22. Never mind. There it is. Okay. Oh, was it? What? I'm so good. What? It's weird.
You here. As you can see, we've got a lot to cover.
Okay. So yeah, this is an hour 49. So this was the Apple Silicon event. So Xcode for iPad, I could see it happening, but they probably won't announce it since the keynote has kind of turned into a consumer event at this point. They tried turning it back into a developer event, kind of with WW21, but I guess not a lot of people appreciated that, so they turned it back into a consumer event in 22. So I could see 23 being a consumer event as well. And then the stuff for the developers will be the rest of the week, the sessions, the State of the Union, that will be for the developers. Yeah, sorry. Talking way too much. So, yeah. A lot is happening with WWDC 2023, shaping up to be a really exciting event. So, what else is there? 15-inch MacBook Air, no Final Cut. So anything Final Cut or Logic Pro related, it's probably going to be a separate Apple event or a press release. So I kind of doubt Apple would bring Final Cut to the iPhone, since A15 and A16 are pretty similar in performance. So they would probably need to bring it to iPhone 13 in the iPad Mini 6. Sorry. But it's kind of complicated. I don't see Final Cut coming to the iPhone ever. Too small. Rather do it on an iPad than an iPhone. So, yeah. Let's see. Anything else? I just want to make sure I'm still sharing the screen. Okay. New Apple display. Only $1,000. Doubt it. I kind of doubt they're going to refresh any screens. What I could see happening, if they do in fact release a Mac Studio, is put USB-C on the keyboard and the mouse. Like, I don't see them updating. They could make a Magic Mouse 3 and put USB-C right here. But what I kind of see is they just putting USB-C right here and then USB-C right here. They could move it up here, but I doubt it. So, yeah. I could see the Magic accessories getting USB-C after they announce the Mac Studio. They'll press release it. And hopefully they'll make the keyboard and mouse come in new colors as well. So if they do, I would want to get a new trackpad. I hate this mouse with a passion. I would rather use a trackpad. But, yeah. Wireless charging, no. I doubt it. Magic accessories probably will. Then when they bring USB-C, they'll probably update the AirPods to have USB-C. And that'll be the only change with the AirPods. Let's see. What else is happening with DubDub? yeah. It's basically what I could see Dub being like. So basically, USB-C on the Magic Mouse and Magic Trackpad and Magic Keyboard. No, I kind of doubt they're gonna make the colorful Magic accessories public. They'll probably just keep it black and white. So, yeah. I mean, they do have a braided cable for the Magic accessories. So, yeah, but for the Magic Mouse in the iMac, I'm actually not sure what Apple would do with that. If I had to guess, Apple would save that for M3 and then update all of these to use it. No HomePods. That's more of a consumer-related product. I was kind of wrong last year about the MacBook Air. I said that was a consumer product, but I was wrong. I made an entire Mac Rumors post saying why. The Magic Mouse has colors if you buy the colors if you have the iMac. Yeah, I could kind of see that happening. So, yeah. So, I don't see colors coming to the public anytime. They might want to keep that as a iMac thing. So, yeah. Yeah, I really don't see Apple doing anything with colors. Like, it would be cool if they had braided cables. Like, if they brought the lightning cable braided in colors. So, iMac Pro, nope. We have not seen anything about the iMac Pro for over a year. So, nothing about the iMac Pro. Yeah. Yeah, so nothing about the iMac Pro, I don't think. Maybe next year, but yeah. If anything, I think Apple want to ditch Intel completely before before making new Apple Silicon devices. Also, a lot of their resources have been on this virtual reality headset, so yeah. No MacBook 12-inch. Actually, with the 12-inch MacBook, I could kind of see them making a MacBook SE. But if they're going to discontinue the iPhone SE completely, which is seeming like that's going to happen, then unfortunately, no MacBook SE. They're just going to keep the MacBook how it is. But apparently, Apple's goal is not market share with the MacBook. So, yeah. Yeah, they should make the 12-inch MacBook pretty cheap. I agree with that. Anything else we have not talked about? So maybe AI will get a little part in WWDC. Like Siri gets a small part every couple WWDCs. So maybe they'll say Siri X, no iPod touches. They removed every single reference of the iPod Touch in iOS 16.1. And if they were going to discontinue the iPod Touch temporarily, they wouldn't make a whole statement about it. So personally, I don't see the iPod Touch making a return. So, anything else? Let me think real fast. We talked about tvOS earlier. I could see that being a minor update. Hopefully they add widgets, since I'm kind of obsessed with widgets currently. And then really widgets would come to the Apple TV. So, tvOS on macOS. Like, center stage. I'm trying to remember that. Oh, front row. Front row was what it was called. Kind of doubt they're going to bring front row back to the Mac. So, yeah, I doubt it. So, okay, so center. Okay, so on the Apple TV, so we're getting Safari. Widgets can maybe come, like the apps are on this side and then the widgets on this side, but it's flipped, basically what I'm imagining on your side. So, yeah, so there's nothing else I can really see front row in probably 10 years. Yeah, they're probably not going to bring front row back to the Apple TV. Yeah, I even forgot about front row until tvOS on macOS. So, Audio OS. So it's actually called HomePod software. So it's based off of tvOS. It's basically just tvOS. Like they combine tvOS and HomePod OS. So Audio OS or HomePod software. I really don't see anything coming with HomePod software except maybe an improved Siri. So that's basically all I could see with HomePod OS. They might bring some home features, but I kind of doubt it. New alarm sounds. I would appreciate that. Like, if they brought Early Riser, the best iPhone alarm, to everything. Make it easier to select Early Riser on the Mac. So, yeah. Since I use the alarm feature on everything, the iPad, the iPhone, the Mac, the Apple Watch even, and new detector. What detector could they add? Like, I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure about anything that can come to Audio OS besides Siri. Maybe sounds, but I doubt it. Let's see. Door detection. Some doors are pretty silent, except for my door right there. It's pretty squeaky. The door over there doesn't make much sound, so a lot of newer doors don't really make sounds. Dog detection. Isn't there sound detection on the home app? Forget. Yeah, sound detection's what you're saying. I thought they had sound detection. Guess not. So yeah, I don't see any sound related stuff here. Okay. Oh, it looks like it's downloading the beta update. I don't want to be stuck with betas. Siri voices. So, kind of surprised we did not get a new Siri voice. We got 2 Siri voices in 2021, 1 in 2022. But personally, I'm just going to use the classics voice 4, which, yeah, I'm just going to use voice 4. I really don't have a reason to use
Siri.
voice 5.
Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
So I'm not going to use voice 5 ever, or voice 3 or 2 or 1, just voice 4, since I like the classic stuff. So, do you think my trick to install iOS 17 will work for... can you tell me what your trick is for installing iOS 17? If you could make a Siri voice of your own with the accessibility feature coming. Yeah, that would be really cool if you could make your own voice, your Siri voice. But honestly, knowing Apple, that if that was to ever come, iOS 18. Okay, let's see what else. Sign in to an Apple. Sign in Apple Dev and have the beta dev in settings for free. I mean, if you'll need to have the user's password as well in order for that to work. So if you were to change the Apple ID, it's by default it links to the Apple ID with your phone, but if you have the developer account on a different Apple ID, then it would work. But you would need to know the password and then do 2-factor authentication as well. Sign in as an Apple dev. No, that does not work. So if it does not detect that you have a developer account, it simply does not give you the option to do it. For some reason, one of my friends have access to it, so has access to the developer account, which is kind of strange. If he said he probably will get iOS 17, so on his 10s if it does work. So yeah, I'm also kind of curious to see how Apple will organize the menu for the anti-pirating feature. Why am I getting it public beta? I want the developer beta. Okay. I guess it's because I reinstalled macOS on my Mac, so it changed when I did that. So the beta update screen says macOS Ventura developer beta. Like, I'm just reading it from here. Will it add 2 additional options? I'm not sure if it will. Probably it will, to be honest, but we'll just have to see. Maybe it'll be easier to switch back to macOS Ventura and get macOS Ventura betas instead of macOS Secura betas. But yeah, speaking of macOS names, I think it's going to be macOS Sequoia or Secura, however you pronounce it. Sounds like an Apple name, but Apple could also remove the names at this point, the California names. Not sure about that. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, anything else we should talk about WWDC? Pre-intro music. So, one of my favorite things, because you can always listen to the pre-intro music at any time. I think it's going to be exactly the same music as the September 2022 iPhone event. Since the ad is basically just one of the songs from that pre-intro music. Personally, I really like how they did it in 2021, before September of 2021, where they had like a Apple animation and then they made their own dedicated music. Well, they play their own dedicated music for like the first 10 minutes of the intro, then play some random songs, but I guess they're making money from it, so they're probably not going to go back. So yeah. Hopefully we're surprised when iOS 17 and all these other things come out. Last year I did not even look at leaks, so I stopped looking at leaks in May, and I was really surprised with what came. But yeah, a lot of those were really late, I guess, and we're approaching the late stuff with iOS 17. But Analyst 941 kind of leaked all of iOS 17 at this point. Control Center, basically the main feature of iOS 17. Hopefully we get something else like better lock screen customization, which I can kind of see coming. More fonts, more options. Yeah. So I think I'm going to sign off right here. So come back on Monday, watch the stream with me. You'll be able to see my reaction and you'll be able to watch the stream yourself as well. So try to figure out how I could get screenshots or so it doesn't trigger the piracy stuff. So yeah, come back on Monday. We're gonna stream a little bit earlier so we can watch Dub together. So we're probably gonna start streaming at 10:30. So be there or be square. So thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe. Share this stream replay with your friend. Come back on Monday, and we'll see you later. Bye.